This is part 2 of the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race Leg 4 of the ABSA Off-Road Championship, marking the halfway mark of the battle for all the national crowns in the various classes. After a tough prologue of over 50 kilometers, where the starting order was determined, the following day was made up of the first day's racing proper, and after 480 kilometers of hard driving, 15% of the field dropped out due to the toughness of the first large loop through the Botswana bush.
But yeah, last year we had an absolute disaster. It was a nightmare. But we learned a lot from that, and I think we fixed all that now, and made a lot of improvements to the car. And I think I'm a year older in off-road racing, so I think we got a better chance this year.
It's a very steep learning curve.
Yeah, you know, I've been driving cars all my life, but off-road is a different game altogether. It's very, very tough. It's hard on the car, it's hard on the driver and the navigator, and you got to be fit, eh? You got to have stamina to 1,000 k's, and you got to pace yourself. I think that's an important thing.
In the Ford camp, there were great expectations with 1 or 2 reservations and adjustments.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a whole lot different. These cars are very efficient in the corners, and if it's a tight, twisty race like it normally is, I think they'll be very good. And we're looking forward to it. We did some good testing on Sunday before the race, so we're looking forward to it. You know, getting used to the car more and more all the time. Made 1 or 2 adjustments that's really suiting my driving style a little bit better. And we're looking forward to a good race. You know, these are 1,000 kilometers, so you need to keep it going for it. So I think the winning times are normally like 17 or 18 hours. So, you know, you've got to keep consistency more than anything.
A good placing in the prologue meant a dust-free drive.
Yeah, it's a hell of a long event, and you know we've basically rebuilt our suspension on our bakkie, both front and back. And yeah, like you said, long event, hoping to get a good place in the prologue. We always know that that's important. So yeah, looking forward to it.
But there was drama for Rundle in the Barden Tyre Services Nissan, who couldn't complete the first day and had to call it a day. For Motorite, though, it's all about R&D.
We say we ended up with a fair result at Sun City, but it wasn't what we expected. We did have a lot of teething problems with the cars. So we've done a lot of development, and obviously we put a lot of time into the cars, a lot of testing again. And theoretically, this time around, I think we've got it right.
Is there any special preparation for a race like this one?
No.
It's different to nearly all the other races on the calendar.
It's the same as all the other races. You know, we prep our cars as best as we possibly can. So it doesn't matter whether we're racing for 500 or 1,000 k's. We do the best possible job we can before we get to a race. And then the next race preparation will be on Saturday night. Once we get through to Saturday night, we'll do another race prep on the cars and preparing them for Sunday.
But there was still a long way to go. The father and son combination, Hugo and Jaap de Bruin, in their McLaren XL Dealer Toyota, who won the prologue in 39 minutes and 24 seconds, were off first and led a bevy of production cars out of the starting stall. However, they'd only had 11 seconds to spare over defending champion Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan in the fire-engine red Nissan Navara, and the race was on. Toyota would have been feeling confident, though, as Marc Cronier and his co-driver Chris Birkin were themselves just a few seconds in arrears and were primed and ready to pounce. But equally loaded was the Nissan Navara of Duncan Foss and stand-in navigator Richard Leake. They were fourth and looking smooth. Mark Corbett and Rudy Balzar in their Century Properties Nissan Navara also went well in the SP class, making it 3 Nissans in the top 5. And the big Nissan was sounding like it was ready for even more abuse. Ford's Brandon Harkis and Jean Moore have had 3 races to find their feet in the Ranger, and they had certainly done that right. And they had them firmly pressed against the floorboards. The big surprise package of day 1 was Karl-Heinz Solwald, also known as Cully, and his son Quinton, who brought today's first special vehicle home in 7 hours and 27 minutes. Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst had a solid drive and were 12 minutes back in their Castrol Toyota, but were clearly trying the conservative way and saving the car for day 2. Another father and son combination, Nick and Ryan Harper, were second in the special category. The Atlas Copco Bat was performing well and enjoying a lot of local support. Another surprise package was Colin Matthews and Alan Smith in the Century Properties Bat, who led the specials for more than 150 kilometres before they had a flat and had fallen back slightly. Motorite's Hutchinson and his co-Achim Bergman in their Bat Spec 3 were racing well, despite a whole host of small but irritating problems, stretching from starter motors to seat belts. Bevan Berthold and his trusty nav, Robin Houghton, were going well, even though it looked like they'd collected every bit of Botswana's fauna and flora. Total Motorsport Shamir Variaba and his co-driver Siegfried Rousseau in their Porter had a fine first day, but were 10 minutes back. Clint Gibson and Mike Brown's Absolute Bat reached the line after 7 hours and 39 minutes. The Brabse Bat of Nardus Alberts and Colin Hunter was next across the line. 2005 Special Vehicle champion Terence Marsh and his co-Peter Groenewald in the brand new racing colours of Regent Racing had also grown in stature since Sun City in round 3. While Herman Solwald and Paul Halberg in the second Solwald Transport Zarco were also right in the thick of things. Richard Schilling with his stand-in nav, Mick Oosthuizen, piloted the Plastotech Aceco to a very solid finish and the lead in Class S. Jan and Hendrik Kraai in the next Regent Racing Special were trying to not only finish their 4th straight race, but also to win Class B for the same amount of times. The brothers David and Gary White in the Rubicon Bat were also getting used to their new car and riding together. The 3rd Regent Special was in the hands of Michael Whitehouse and Dean Langton, who impressed with a quick but controlled drive to finish in 7 hours and 53 minutes. The defending SP Class champions Ford's Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schultheimer had a strangely out-of-sorts day, and the Ranger pilots battled a bulky starter motor all the way. Their stablemate Kobus van Tonner and Rian Guelpa in the next Ford were making their first appearance in the blue and white brand and were doing it proud. But the award for the worst-looking car at the end of day 1 certainly went to Ivar Tollefson and his co-driver Quinn Evans, who had obviously connected quite a few solid objects in their by then unrecognizable Nissan Navara. But whatever the case may have been, the route was long and exacting, and the dust had taken its toll. Even the production car drivers complained bitterly, and they didn't have half the visual troubles that the special vehicles had experienced in the massive dust clouds that had built up further back. For Bez Besaidnout and Johan de Bruin, it was, however, clear enough to be in contention for a podium in Class B. And in Class D, it was ditto for father and son Cliff and Louis Weichelt in their Toyota Hilux, who were setting the pace by just a few seconds after the prologue. And in Class E, it was championship leaders Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro in the Ford Racing Diesel, who were steaming along. The second Total Motorsport Jimco was in the very capable hands of Naeem Musaji and Ryan Bodjana, and had a very solid day 1 and were consistent, as always, with Toyota's Malcolm Koch and Wayne Brunk, who were keeping the men ahead of them honest. While Brian Martin and Oki Fori racing in Class E were just close enough to maintain the pressure on the men ahead of them. After starting 7th overall, the Barlow World Absolute Ford Ranger of Manfred Schroeder and Ward Huxtable was plagued by several small problems, but they were also firmly on their way to the finish line, with Gil Nel and Sandra Labuskaghni in the Luke ATE Zarco Truggy in their wake. But at the line, it was the De Bruins who brought it home in 7 hours and 57 minutes. The father and son were ecstatic, even though the Toyota probably wasn't. And after almost 500 kilometers of grueling battle, the men and their machines who made it into the top 10 in the production car stable, with the Nissans fighting 3 of their cars into the top 5, while Ford snuck in 3 into the top 10. In the special vehicle battle, it was even tighter, and the father and son war at the top was going to ensure a special Father's Day present for one happy family at the end of 1,000 kilometers worth of racing.
Vehicle and asset finance from the beaten track to find solutions.
Day 3 of the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race, and with another 480 kilometers of racing left to go, there was a lot of tension in the air. Prologue and first day leaders, the De Bruins, were rearing and ready to go.
Tough day, but luckily we've got the dust on our side, and I see the wind's not blowing, so everything is working according to our plan. We still can't believe we're still in front. It's a big achievement for us. Yesterday we had some problems with the gearbox. We've lost second gear. Luckily, Wami gave us a new gearbox last night, and we put it in, and the bucket feels good. I mean, we are out there. We can try to do our best to hold this position.
Surprise special vehicle leader Kali Solwad knew that they would feel the pressure of the rest of the pack bearing down on them.
Definitely a big day for us. A lot of the